Doing good. Doing good. Okay.
That's how I feel when people do real good. I think or average. Yeah, I feel like
What's that? Oh, I'm gonna go get me.
I got what they had at
Yeah, during Christmas time.
Well, no, Thanksgiving. I bought mine.
Oh, they had
$1.99.
they had one there Christmas time. $179 that was like that cost. I said I was gonna get it, but messed up didn't do it. And the worst thing with Sam's Club, if you see something you don't get it, it's gone when you go back. Oh wow! Yeah, what you supposed to have a one microphone? Yeah, so you got a better deal. Oh, okay. Well, that makes it great. That's what we need for CDC. We don't have to depend on right. Right. So we don't have to depend on anybody else.
Come back tomorrow. That's what she was out there working on the girls' the basketball team. Tim seen that KDK. Yep. Now I'm about to go out there and cut out the stuff for their That's what she told me. Yep. No head on the front right. Deep 16. They score for 5. It's the girl. Terrible too. Yes. Yep. They just had a bag. We play better than we play competition. Yeah. That's always. Yeah.
That's your music playing. Cut it down. Mess it up.
Why you come out? Check the system. Why you always come and stuff out? That's all. He's here though, so here's the way.
Okay, okay.
I think he don't know how to work the system. He don't look to make the guy. He don't know how to work it.
He doesn't even walk out.
Yeah,
Hello. You hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, go to the, okay, okay, yeah.
By my watch. Do what? Take the mic.
Test it.
Count
Test
back
it.
from 10.
Can you hear me? Thank you very much. Good. Let me say good morning to each and every one of you. We thank you all for coming out. If we want to get out, we must start on time. And so, according to my watch, my clock, it's 11 o'clock. So, we will go ahead on and get started. By the way, the first thing on our program today is the present of colors by the Washington County High School Junior ROTC.
Color guard. Attention. Please stand. Please stand. Carry color. Forward. Mark. Mark down. Mark. Group. Up. Left. Face. Present. On. Order. On. Right. Face. Mark. Mark. Forward, march.
You may be seated. At this time, we will have our prayer by Reverend James Cooper Jr. Reverend Cooper.
Just doing what I do best when I'm walking to the pulpit. Praise the Lord, everybody.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord, everybody.
Praise the Lord.
Good to be in the house one more time. Can we all stand on our feet and reverence God? Father God, we thank you for allowing us to come together one more time. But Father God, we thank you for allowing us to be on one accord. Father God, let this be a form and pleasing to your sight. Lord, and Father, let questions be answered. But not only let questions be answered, but let questions go to the hilltops. Lord, dear Father, you say, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And Lord, dear Father, let this form be one of just, one accord, one body, and one sound, under one God. Amen.
Amen.
Let's give the Washington County High School Junior ROTC team a hand for presenting the colors the way they did. The next thing on our program is we're going to have a welcome and purpose from the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group, and Mr. Moses Matthew will do that. Mr. Matthew?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
There was a time when I could hop on this stage the way the Reverend did. But good morning to you all. I'm happy to see you here in this space. We want to welcome you. The Eastern Civic Group has been around for 50 years plus, and our purpose is to impact our communities, at least get our community aware of the political, economic, and social issues, and create some kind of a forum through a reliable committees so they can voice their concern and be active in what's needed to impact the family lives of everyone in our community. So we want to welcome you here this morning. Those who are in this space and those who are out there on the internet, Facebook platform, on Zoom, wherever. I am, while I'm here, I'm driven by two proverbs that really shape my mindset as I go. There's an African proverb that says, when elephants fight, the grass suffers. And then there's a Chinese proverb that says, those who sweat more in peace bleed less in war. I believe that the Civic Group and what we do day in, day out, sort of really in line with those proverbs. So again, I want to welcome you to the Civic Group and remind you that we meet every second Saturday of the month in one area or another. Our home base is really at Black Acre at 600 Smithwick Street here in Williamston, North Carolina. So welcome, and if anything we can do to participate in helping you to help inform your community on what we're all about. And of course, it all starts with the institution of education, one of the critical institutions. So here we are. Welcome again. Thank you.
Now we will have greetings coming from Martin County Superintendent Dr. Michelle White. Dr. White.
Good morning. I am Dr. Michelle White, and I am the very proud superintendent of Martin County Schools. On behalf of our school system, our Board of Education, our wonderful staff, and our amazing students, welcome to this education forum. We are grateful to the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group for sponsoring this important conversation and for bringing together our entire District 1 community, a community of advocates who deeply believe that education is the foundation of lasting change. We are especially honored today to welcome our keynote speaker, our very own State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Greene. Superintendent Greene, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being with us today. Your presence speaks volumes about the important partnership between our state, our schools, and our communities. Today's theme, Be a Part of the Change, is more than a call to action. It reflects what we are seeing and living, not only in Martin County, but across all of our District 1 school systems. One of my favorite quotes is, "Progress is impossible without change." And over the last several years, our districts across all school systems in District 1 have experienced meaningful, measurable progress through the changes that have occurred, like in Washington County, where they built a brand new state-of-the-art K-12 school, where our children get to learn and grow and have amazing experiences for years and years to come. Or in Bertie County, where for the third consecutive year, they are no longer a low-performing school district. Or in Hertford County, yes. Or in Hertford County, where over the last 2 years, they have decreased chronic absenteeism by 38%. Or in Perquimans County, where they have some of the highest percentage of National Board certified teachers in the state of North Carolina. Or right here in Martin County, where we have some of the highest student achievement in almost a decade, the highest since 2017-18. Where we took 2 schools and merged them into one school family and created something amazing. Our ACT scores have tripled over the last year. Our graduation rate has increased by 12 percentage points, the second highest under this accountability model. Our high school exceeded growth, the first time a high school has exceeded growth in Martin County, putting us in the top 5 to 10% for growth in the state of North Carolina. And student achievement at the school increased 16 percentage points, officially moving that school out of low-performing status. Progress is impossible without change, but we are making the change and we are making the progress. We launched an early college high school program where our children can now earn their 2-year associate's college degree while still in high school. And we've increased dual enrollment by 308%. We've increased college credits earned by 154%. You see, our children can when communities like you stand behind them. And now this year, just this year, Martin County Schools has been selected as one of only 3 school systems across the state to receive a new official early college high school, which is going to open even more doors of opportunity and possibility for the children of Martin County. And you see, these changes are happening all across District 1 public schools. And these outcomes are not accidental, but they're driven by intention. They're driven by belief and by purpose. And they're driven because of people like you. The games are powerful reminders of what's possible when we believe in and invest in public schools. Public education is the great equalizer, the strongest investment a community can make, and the most powerful engine for opportunity, equity, and economic growth that we have. And the success of our public schools is inseparable from the communities that stand behind them. Today's forum is an opportunity to continue the progress. Today's forum is an opportunity to continue the work, to listen, to learn, and to strengthen the partnerships that ensure every single child, regardless of zip code, has access to the highest quality education and the brightest future that they deserve. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment to our children. And thank you for being a part of the progress and a part of the change. Welcome to Martin County. Welcome to the Education Forum. And welcome to the movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. White, for those kind words. Let us know what's going on in our school district. And again, I said thank you for your presentation at this time. Also, I want to thank Reverend Cooper for his prayer and Mr. Moses for his welcome and his purpose. At this time, I will call on Mayor Pro Tem Betty Selby to recognize our visitor and call roll.
Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year to all of y'all that I have not seen. It's certainly good to be here. I do apologize for I was a little late this morning. I didn't want to get up. The weather was nice and gloomy, and I just did not want to get up on Saturday morning. But I'm certainly glad to be here among our friends and getting to know new friends here today. As Mr. Bond said, I do serve as mayor pro tem for the town of Mania. I also am the secretary for the Eastern North Carolina Civic group, a group that is very, very dear to my heart. I also serve as Northeastern Regional Coordinator for Advanced Carolina. We'll move along with the program. I do roll call. I'm doing roll call of the 23 counties. Of course, we will have 23 counties here. Mr. President, I see Bertie here. I see Dare here. I see Edgecombe here. I see Northampton is also here. Terrell's here. And for Clemens, is there any other counties in the Northeast that's here that I may have missed? Excuse me?
Washington.
Okay, check Martin. I didn't call Martin?
Washington.
Washington, okay. Washington County. Any other counties in the Northeast here today?
GPS signal lost.
Halifax.
Halifax. Mr. President, we do have 10 counties. We do have a quorum. Amen. Check. Thank you. Okay. If we have guest counties, and I'm sure we do, would you please let me know the counties that you represent? Excuse me.
Pasquotank.
Okay.
Did you get Pasquotank?
Jawan's here?
Yes.
Thank you.
Wait. Pasquotank.
I got Pasquotank. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Our roll call is completed. I wanted to recognize our elected officials that we have with us. It's always a good opportunity and great to see our elected officials because they represent all of us. Not just one said county, but all of us in the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group. Nothing makes us happier than to see our elected officials. So I would ask that all elected officials please stand and just give us the county you represent, the district, and your name, please.
It's up to you.
Martin County Board of Education.
Julius Walker, Washington County Commissioner, District 2.
And Dr. Walker.
Sharon Valley, Eastern North Carolina, even Sharon Public Schools, I am on the school board.
I'm Don Teal, I'm a Mayor Pro Tem of the Town of Plymouth City Council.
Kim Williams, City Council.
We didn't catch your name, ma'am. Can you speak a little louder?
Kim Williams, Plymouth City Council.
Okay. Wow, we got 6 elected officials with us today. That's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. And we welcome you as being our representative. The Civic Group meets every second Saturday of the month, with the exception of February and with the exception of December. And we do ask our local officials to go on our website or follow Mr. Dancy on his Facebook page to see where our meetings are located. Most of our meetings are located in Martin County, but they are determined by our president and our executive board. So, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Bailey. At this time, we'll keep on with the program. We're going to have the history of the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group presented by Ms. Janet Sharp, the Assistant Secretary. Ms. Sharp.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Some of you may be asking, what or who is the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group? And as my former pastor would say, I am so glad you asked. I'm going to try to give you a little history. The Eastern North Carolina Civic Group is one of the oldest and most influential community-based civic organizations in Eastern North Carolina. From its inception, the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group has focused on strengthening communities through civic participation, voter education, leadership development, and public awareness initiatives. It has a distinct legacy of promoting civic engagement, leadership, and empowerment across predominantly Black rural counties. The group has a long and storied history. It was founded in the late 1970s by E.D. Wilkins, the first Black mayor of Broken, North Carolina. He was a longtime educator and advocate and established the group to help historically underserved Black communities gain economic and political power. He was known as the godfather of Black politics in North Carolina. Under his leadership, the organization became a key force for community coordination, local leadership development, and political education, earning him statewide respect for his political knowledge and commitment to community service. The organization was founded on the belief that informed and engaged citizens are essential to building equitable, thriving communities and sustaining democratic values. It now serves 23 counties across Eastern North Carolina, including both the 1st and 3rd U.S. congressional districts. E.K. Wilkins' successors have included Fred Yates, former mayor of Windfall, North Carolina, James Sears of Gates County, and Wesley Stokes of Washington County, who now serves as president. The group's officers also include First Vice President Carl Bond, Moses Matthews, Second Vice, Vanessa Smith, Third Vice, Betty Selby, Secretary, Mavis Hill, Treasurer, and yours truly, Janet Sharp, Assistant Secretary. Mr. Carmelis Dancy II serves as a Regional Director. The monthly meetings are held on the second Saturday at 11 o'clock a.m. They are usually held at Providence, Arnold Structure in Martin County, or other regional community centers. The Eastern North Carolina Civic Group has continued its long tradition of combining civic education with voter education and leadership training. Its meetings frequently feature policy experts and representatives from state advocacy groups such as the North Carolina Black Alliance, Advanced Carolina, and local university programs. Current initiatives include hosting legislative updates and advocacy workshops on local issues such as farming, veterans affairs, and rural infrastructure, partnering with digital platforms like Greater Diversity News to expand communication within the region, and encouraging direct engagement between residents and elected representatives through structured community forums. In 2025, the group launched its first scholarship program to support students from our rural counties. The Eastern North Carolina Civic Group has become a mandatory stop for state and federal politicians seeking to connect with Black voters and civic leaders in the region. Guided by its founding principles, it continues to serve as a trusted platform for advocacy and engagement, remaining steadfast in its mission to uplift voices, promote responsible citizenship, and support initiatives that enhance the quality of life in Eastern North Carolina. Through dedication, collaboration, and service, the organization remains committed to building a more informed, active, and empowered community. And that's just a brief history of who we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw, for that history. And I hope everybody learned a little bit about our organization. We can be a powerful organization. We can get representatives from each one of our 23 counties to come together so we can educate our people. So again, Ms. Shaw, thank you. Okay, at this time I think we're supposed to have Representative Rodney Greene here.
Pierce.
Rodney Pierce, excuse me. But due to some unforeseen occurrence, he will not be able to be here. So what I will do now, we'll go down to introduction of the North Carolina Superintendent of Public Instruction by Ms. Vanessa Smith, the third Vice President. Ms. Smith? And by the way, everybody wondering, my name is Carl Bond. I'm the first Vice President.
Phew. Wow. I need to get that breath out. Good morning, beautiful people. Good morning, rural Eastern North Carolina, from wherever you have come from. I celebrate you today for taking the time out to be with us. Boy, I'm so excited, but I'm so nervous too. And I'm gonna keep it real. And I may sound a little kiddie, but you know what my kids would say? Ooh, Miss Smith, you got the top dog today. So that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. I got the top dog at the table. But I am happy to have our superintendent with us for the state of North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. Now, what I have is not possibly all the things he will be or has been. But what I have is to enlighten you of what we have been given. And I think it's wonderful. First, let me say, I met Mr. Greene when he was in the beginning of his run for his seat as superintendent. And as an observant person, I realized I had someone who was more observant than me, because they sat quietly, they watched the room, they didn't say anything, but they knew when and where and what to do and what was expected. And with that, I found myself saying, wow, we're gonna have some good stuff at the top. So this morning, I would like to share with you Mr. Greene, Maurice Mo Greene's vision for North Carolina, coming from, of course, you know we use our internet for our support and backup. So if I leave something out, Mr. Greene is right here. Superintendent. His vision for North Carolina Public Schools, it said, could be summed up in 3 words: achieving educational excellence. The son of a special education teacher,
Greene is a lifelong champion of public education and has seen firsthand its ability to transform both lives and communities. As North Carolina State Superintendent of Public Instruction, he is committed to ensuring all students in public schools have access to a high-quality education. He strongly champions greater support and resources for public education, striving to create a brighter future for students, educators, and communities across the state. After doing 2 United States judicial clerkships and working as a lawyer in private practice, Greene served as a general counsel for Charlotte-Mecklenburg School, the second largest district in North Carolina, starting in 2001. In 2006, he was named as Chief Operating Officer and later moved into the role of Deputy Superintendent. In 2008, he became Superintendent for Guilford County Schools, the third largest district in North Carolina. During his more than 7 years of leadership, he was widely recognized for his innovative approach to education and impactful reforms. Under his guidance, the district achieved significant improvements in academic performance, increased graduation rates, and prioritized character development, earning both state and national acclaim for these successes. After leaving Guilford County School, Greene served as the executive director of the Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation, an influential North Carolina foundation that supports various causes, including public education, from 2016 to 2023. During his tenure, he led a strategic assessment and planning process that resulted in All for North Carolina, a framework for grant making and learning that centers effort to strengthen democracy, advance public education, foster a healthy and sustainable environment, and promote social and economic justice. Greene has served on numerous boards focused on educational issues, including homelessness, athletics, policy, media, art, and community support. He is a double Duke University graduate with a bachelor's degree in political science and economics and a law degree. Greene is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha and Sigma Pi Phi fraternities. He is married and has 2 adult children, both of whom graduated from North Carolina Public Schools. At this time, I present to you what North Carolina has received as one of its best, Mr. Mo Greene.
Well, good morning. Good morning. We're going to try that again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Certainly my honor and privilege to be with you this morning, and thanks to the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group for giving me the opportunity to share a few words with you this morning. As was stated in the introduction, I had the wonderful opportunity to get to know this organization when I was campaigning for this role, and have had the great opportunity to come back a few times as well. And so it is with that great privilege that I share the following. We're going to talk this morning about the state of education in North Carolina. The state of education in North Carolina, public education, as it were. I'm going to talk about it in 4 domains, if you will. I'm going to provide a by the numbers, if you will, to start us off with. Then we're going to talk about headwinds. And then third, the way forward. and then finally how each and every one of you can get involved. And I understand that after I conclude my comments this morning, there'll be an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have, and so we'll go wherever you want to go after I have this opportunity to share. So, by the numbers, North Carolina has the wonderful opportunity to serve about 1.5 million students across North Carolina. We do it in over 2,700 schools, including both what I call district schools, and you heard this morning from Dr. White, the superintendent of Martin County Schools. So those would be, now because I'll use these terms throughout my presentation, district schools, and then there are about a little over 200 charter public schools as well. And then we have a number of lab schools that are connected with our universities across the state. So how are our schools and our students doing? I'm going to provide just a number of different metrics so you get some sense of how we're doing across the state. The first one that I'll start off with is our graduation rate. It is a 4-year cohort graduation rate, which essentially means students that start in the 9th grade, how many of them are graduating 4 years later. And with each of these numbers that I'm going to present, I'm going to also try to provide a bit of context as how North Carolina is doing in comparison to the rest of the nation, which will become important as we then explore the way forward. So with this graduation rate, where the numbers that we have that are in comparison to the rest of the nation, they are a couple of years old, if you will, as the rest of the nation provides its numbers. But the latest numbers that we have is we graduate 86.4% of our students essentially on time. And to put in a bit of context, if you go back 10 plus years, we were in the 70s. And so we're making certainly substantial progress, if you will, in the number of students who are graduating on time. And I'm pleased to say that with the graduation rate for the class of 2025, it was 87.7%, which is the highest in the history of North Carolina's public schools. Now, where does that, the 86.4% places us essentially right in the middle compared to the rest of the nation, 25th. The highest in the country would be West Virginia at 91.2%. But you can see then, looking at our latest numbers, we're certainly getting closer to the top, if you will. Certainly room to grow. To the extent that we want to dig down a little bit deeper, I do want to, on occasion, share then how, for example, African Americans are doing with certain of these numbers. And so with the latest graduation rate for North Carolina, again, I said it was at 87.7%. For African Americans, it's at 85.8%. 85.8. And so, again, that number has certainly increased over time. It's leveled off over the last few years, although this number that I just shared is the highest in the history of North Carolina. Certainly room to grow to catch up to the state number, and then certainly more room to grow to get to the best in the country number. The next one will be the American College Testing, ACT performance, if you will. And so this is an exam that is given as a college entrance exam, if you will. And rather than looking at the entire country, we're going to talk about 17 states, because the 17 states, including North Carolina, are the states that the vast majority of the students actually take the exam. There are many states where only a small group of students might take it, and I don't believe that's going to be then a fair comparison. So of the 17, you can score a 1 to a 36 on this exam. We have an average of 18.5. To get into the UNC system, right now you have to have at least an 18. to get in. So you see sort of where we are there. By comparison, we're going to be in 10th place of 17. There's a bit of an echo somewhere. The top state would be at 20. Would be at 20. Is that better? Very good. So the top state is Utah. Utah at 20 as an average. Third would be advanced placement exams. And so these are exams that are taken, so they're courses that are taken by students in high school, and then there are exams that are given. And students, if they score a 3, 4, or a 5 on these exams, can often be given college credit from colleges and universities across the country. And so here we want to look at both participation and performance. For participation, we're at 21.2% of our students taking an advanced placement exam by the time they graduate from high school, which places us in 15th place across the country, with the top being the District of Columbia at 29%. With regards to performance, 65.4% of the students achieve a grade or score of 3, 4, or 5, so they're eligible to get that college credit, which places North Carolina in 31st position. 31st position. Montana being the top with 74.3% of its students achieving those scores. Now, I had the great pleasure in November of this year to announce the most recent information for North Carolina. And again, historic numbers for North Carolina, as the participation was at its highest level ever, with increases of over 7.3% in test takers, and a total of 9.8 increase in total tests over the previous year. Of all the tests taken, whereas before we were at 65.4%, this past year we're at 72.1% of our students earning a 3, 4, or 5. That puts us now above the national average, which was at 70.1%, and certainly puts us closer to the top state, which was again at 74.3%. So you see the progress that's being made there. I should also note that all racial and ethnic groups and genders experienced growth in every region of the state, also had increases this past year. The next one then will be career and technical education. Again, just to provide a bit of context for some of us who've been around for a day or two, with gray hair or maybe even less hair, we may refer or remember it as vocational education, right? So these are students who are given the opportunities to engage in various sorts of career and technical education courses during their middle and high school years. As I did a listening and learning tour when I started this job in January of 2025 and went around the state, one of the things that folks would say to me is, we need to have more of our students participating in career and technical education courses. And I said, I agree, we ought to. And then we looked at the numbers. And so it's helpful to have the context, because as it turns out, North Carolina has the second highest participation in career and technical education courses of any state in the entire country. 36.1% of our students take a career and technical education course, which places us in second place behind Nebraska at 41.2%. There really isn't sort of national data that we can use to compare on performance, but I will tell you that North Carolina has had this past year over 500,000 industry level credentials earned by our students which is a remarkable number. The next set of metrics I'll look at is the National Assessment of Educational Progress. It's also known as the Nation's Report Card. So this is a way of looking at where our students are in both 4th and 8th grade in reading and mathematics. Because every state has a cohort of students that take the same exam every 2 years. So we can see sort of how we're doing in 4th and 8th grade with that set of students, if you will. So for 4th and 8th grade, I will just simply say, rather than getting into all of the scale scores and all of that, I'll essentially say the following. In 4th grade reading and in 4th grade math, and in 8th grade reading, we're essentially with most of the pack of the rest of the states, right? And with 8th grade math, we're slightly above the pack, if you will, the rest of the states there. But in each of the areas, all 4 of those areas, there is significant room for substantial growth. So I don't want us to get confused that being with the pack doesn't mean we're doing as well as we need to be doing. There's room for absolute growth in 4th and 8th grade reading and in mathematics. So, those metrics and others that I could share with you will give you a sense that compared to the rest of the nation, I would submit to you that we're doing fair to good, in an instance or two, even better than good, but in no place would I would say, gosh, we're the best in the entire country. There's absolute room for us to grow. Now, having put that sort of by the numbers, if we will, I want to talk a little bit about headwinds, challenges that are facing North Carolina's public schools. Now, I want to focus on 3, because we could be here for a while if I talked about all of the challenges facing our public school system, but I want to drill in on 3 of those. The first one is going to be around expanding choice and enrollment. The second one will be around federal changes. And then the third will be around overall spending for North Carolina's public schools. So the first one then is, again, expanding choice and enrollment. North Carolina, over the last several years, has been about the business of providing more and more opportunities for parents to have different choices beyond sending their children to public schools. We have, for example, the Opportunity Scholarships, which are taxpayer-funded private school vouchers that allow any student to go to a private school and receive money to have that child go, regardless of income and regardless of whether they already have their child in a private school, right? And so it's on a grade, sort of a scale as to how much a family might receive. The lower your income, the more dollars you will receive to go to a particular school. North Carolina has also had an increase in the number of families who are choosing to homeschool their children. All of this then has had the impact on enrollment in our public schools. Whereas if you go back a decade or so, our enrollment was around 89% of the students who were eligible to be in schools were in our public schools. That number is now down to around 84%. And if you think about, as I mentioned earlier, district public schools, that number is going even further down than that. Charter schools, conversely, are actually going up. So overall, then, that's how you get to the 84% of district schools, and you'll see even some of our larger district schools are now in the 70s, the percent of students who are in our public schools. And so this is an important headwind for us to be paying attention to, because it has impacts then on the kind of things that can be done and services that can be provided for all of our students. Which gets me then to the second of 3 headwinds, federal changes. Federal changes. The current administration at the federal level made it abundantly clear, even before President Trump was elected, that they were going to be about the business of making substantial and significant changes to public education at the federal level. Again, context is important, just so you have some sense. North Carolina's overall budget, about 10%, a little over 10% of our budget comes from federal government. So what happens at the federal level is critically important for North Carolina. Various laws and regulations also have significant impacts then on what happens to North Carolina's public schools. And so the administration was very clear that they were going to be about the business of dismantling the U.S. Department of Public Education. They have been about that business. They have reduced the number of folks who are employed in the U.S. Department of Education at the federal level. They've now, in November of this year, also through what they call interagencies agreements, provided that other agencies will now take control and manage parts of the dollars and programs that come through the department, used to come through the Department of Education. So they're spreading it out. For example, career and technical education, that used to be under the Department of Education, is now being managed by the Department of Labor. And so this is continuing to be a dramatic thing that we must pay attention to. In addition, this administration has been very clear that they will, if they deem it appropriate, to stop certain funds. Let me give you just two examples. In June of this year, effective on July 1st, one of the things that happens on an annual basis is we receive in North Carolina and across the country hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars across the country to support various initiatives, like, for example, Title I dollars that go towards supporting students who attend schools where there are high levels of poverty, right? There are dollars that go for supporting teachers getting their professional development. Things like materials for and equipment for safety and security. On June the 30th, after the Congress had previously appropriated dollars for North Carolina, $165 million, the president signed off on those dollars coming, and they should have come on July the 1st. On June 30th, we get a notice that the dollars are being withheld. So, on July the 1st, we don't see $165 million, which immediately impacts our ability to deliver those resources. And it wasn't until the North Carolina Attorney General, Jeff Jackson, who joined with about 24 other attorney generals across the United States, and 2 governors, suing the federal government, and also having U.S. Congress folks, including 10 Republicans in the Senate, saying, along with advocacy at incredible levels across the country, that those monies will ultimately release. But then, and I can give more than 2 examples, believe me when I tell you, as recently as this past December, there is money that was provided in a discretionary grant, a 5-year grant for North Carolina for community schools. This is an effort to provide resources to have communities work with and be in support of efforts that are going on in the schools. A magnificent effort. North Carolina received a total of $50 million. On December the 12th, the administration said that they're ending that program, even though we're only in year 2 of a 5-year grant, We're going to end the program effective on December the 31st of 2025. So literally 2+ weeks after the announcement, we're going to end that program. So, the North Carolina Attorney General, Jeff Jackson, along with a couple of other states, have filed another lawsuit saying that this money should be released because it's already been granted to, in our instance, North Carolina and in other states, to their states or schools. And again, I could give other examples of this, but we must understand that this is a significant headwind impacting North Carolina's public schools. Which then gets me then to the third headwind, is overall funding for North Carolina's public schools. Recognizing about what I'm saying is we sit in a moment where North Carolina is the only state in the country, the only one that has not passed a full comprehensive budget for last year, now going into this year. Only one. Understand further the following, that the most significant part of the state's budget are our public schools. Understand the following, there's a report that's put out by the Education Law Center called Making the Grade, that essentially says we're going to compare every other state as to how much they are putting into public education. It's state and local dollars, because that's where most dollars come out of state that support our public schools across each of our states. So removing sort of federal dollars from this conversation. North Carolina, with the most recent report that came out in December of last year, looking at 2023 dollars and recognizing that we ain't much better even now, but at that point, they also include the District of Columbia in this metric. So there are 51 entities that they're looking at, 50 states plus the District of Columbia. North Carolina is in 50th position. 50th. Idaho, by the way, is the one state below North Carolina. Now, North Carolina is about $5,000 per pupil less than the national average. And I know folks, because I've said this before, so I've cleaned it up some, because folks will say, well, Mo, the national average includes states like New York and California, so of course we're going to be below them. So here's what I'll say. We look then at Virginia and South Carolina. We are $3,500 to $5,000 less per pupil than our border states. And when you think about the fact that we have 1.5 million students that we're trying to serve, times, let's just take the $3,500. You can see we're talking about real money that is not coming into North Carolina, that is obviously impacting a great deal of issues, including, for example, most notably, teacher compensation, where we find ourselves spiraling towards the bottom compared to the rest of the nation as well. This same report does something else. They look at the 50 states excluding the District of Columbia, and they say, well, what is the effort that the state is putting into public education? Because another argument that could be made is if you are a poor state, well, then you may not have the resources to put into public education. It turns out North Carolina is certainly not a poor state in comparison to other states looking at gross domestic product. And of the 50 states, all sort of put on the scale of how much they are willing to invest in our public education system, of 50 states, we are at the absolute bottom. We are 50. So we're not a poor state, and yet we're not putting money into our public education system. So those are significant headwinds that we are facing in our public education system. Now, we can sit here for a moment and we can moan and groan and shake our heads and say, bless our little hearts. But the third thing I want to talk about this morning is the way forward. The way forward. Certainly we have to have advocacy, and we'll talk about that in a moment for more resources. But until those resources come, our children, I tell folk all the time to follow. Our children are not, the fourth graders aren't going to sit in the fourth grade until we as adults get our act together here in North Carolina. It's not going to happen. And so we have to do what we need to do to move forward in spite of the headwinds that are facing us. And so, after doing that listening and learning tour that I mentioned, we called it Mo Wants a Note. I went across the state and listened to folks, engaged with people, worked with the State Board of Education. The State Board unanimously approved in August of this past year a strategic plan. It is entitled Achieving Educational Excellence. It has three major goals: high academic achievement, character development, and then the audacious goal that North Carolina will have the very best public education system in the entire country by 2030. I know folks are looking at me because I get it all across the state. That's a little hard. Mo has bumped his head. You just told us about all the headwinds. You gave us the data, if you will, as to where we sit in comparison to everyone else across the nation. That we're fair to good and maybe case or two, maybe even very good. How in the world we're going to get the best in the nation? The plan is the framework for making that happen. And this plan isn't Mo Greene's plan solely. I have my part to play in it. Nor is it just simply the State Board of Education's plan, although they have a part to play in it as well. It is our plan. It is North Carolina's plan. We, my friends, are the ones that will make this happen. The plan is set out, and you can go online and see it at the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. Lays out 8 pillars to include everything like preparing each and every child for what is next in their careers. And I want folks to visualize the following. When our students walk across the graduation stage, they will have taken and passed a college level course while still in high school. And not or, they will have taken and passed a career and technical education course while still in high school. And not or, they will exhibit that they have great character. This is the vision that we're heading towards. When you think about the fact that we already have this increased participation in advanced placement, when I tell you that 36% of our students are already dually enrolled in high school and college courses, when our own superintendent here in Martin County was able to share that we're starting an early college that will have more of our students enrolled in college level courses while still in high school. You begin to see that this audacious goal is in fact achievable if we do the work. Another one of the pillars is revering our public school educators. Revering our public school educators, and the word reverence is chosen specifically. This is higher than respect. Across the country, and certainly here in North Carolina, we have lost our way. with regards to the way we ought to respect and revere our educators. They are part of a noble profession. They are doing transformative work. We should revere them. Certainly compensation is critically important, but it is more than that. And so we've got some strategies that we'll be rolling out over the course of the next few years to get this back to a place where folks revere our educators. We also then have in this plan things surround certainly community and parent involvement and safety and secure schools and optimizing our operations. And in the last two, focus on building public education champions and galvanizing those champions to do work in support of our public schools. Which gets me then to the final thing that I want to talk about this week, before we open it up for questions, and that is galvanizing those champions. There's certainly going to be lots of strategies that we will be utilizing, but I want to leave us with the following. Each of us has a part to play in making our public education systems the best in the country. Oftentimes we think about these institutions that are so established, and we think that, well, it's up to them to figure this out. This is public education. Public. This isn't education. So the public has a critical part to play in this. Certainly advocating for the resources that you need for our public schools. Demanding excellence. One of the things that I want us to be really clear about is the following. Because I tried to give you just an instance or two of where, how, for example, certain subgroups are showing up, right? There's no reason for any subgroup not to be at the highest levels possible. There's no reason for us to say, because we have come up in a time when folks would say, you either are going to do, for example, college level courses, you're a bright kid, you ought to do that. Or you're good with your hands, and so you should do this, and not worry about the mental part of doing advanced placement exams. You heard the vision. The expectation is that every child can walk across the graduation stage and have done both. And so if we're not having that level of expectation in our communities, we are failing ourselves. We're doing harm to our own children because our children will do what they think the adults expect of them. And so in our public schools, there's work to be done. Asking each and every one of our children, what advanced placement course are you taking? Are you taking a college level course while you're in high school? If the answer is no, then the question is why not? Because you have the mental capacity to do it. Are you taking a career and technical education course? And the answer is no, then why not? Because you have the gifts within you to do it. So certainly raising levels of expectation, certainly advocacy, certainly giving your gifts to our young people. We need folks who will support and tutor, be mentors, provide apprenticeships, and other opportunities for our children as well. So, I've spent a good portion of your morning, and I appreciate you for allowing me to share with you this morning. It has been, for the past year, an incredible honor to be North Carolina's Superintendent of Public Instruction. But I told folk, and I tell folk all the time, because I came out of retirement to run for this position. And when North Carolina made the decision to select me, I'm not settling. I'm not settling. Because I could be enjoying my retirement. And so I want us to have the very best public education system in the entire country. Let's get about the business in year 2 of continuing to build on the progress that's being made, challenge ourselves to do even better, even as we have to deal with all of the headwinds that are coming our way. I want to thank you for giving me this time. I'm now available for any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions? Now we have the superintendent here. You want to ask the question, get an answer. Don't fault us. We brought it to you.
I'm gonna start it out. Good evening. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ron Smith. I'm from Northampton County. I've had the pleasure of also being Superintendent Greene. But my question or comment is, let's back up to CTE. Because I'm a retired CTE teacher. I taught electronics in high school. The thing is, with the current salary structure of teachers, educators now, it's kind of challenging to find a, say, electronics teacher. You go into a high school when I can go to IBM or somewhere and get twice the salary. So how do we plan to curtail that scenario?
Yeah. So, wonderful question, and I'm assuming everyone was able to hear the questions related to career and technical education and the teacher compensation and how challenging it is to have teachers come and teach in career and technical education, given that teachers can, these same individuals can go and work in other professions and make substantially more money. And this is true not only in CTE as well, this is across the board, right? And so we certainly know that this is an area where we have to have significant increases in compensation. No question in that. And so that's where I would say the first thing we've got to do is we've got to advocate for increased compensation. No question. If you look at the plan, if you say where are we trying to put the most significant dollars, if dollars were to come, they are to increase the compensation for our educators. This requires our General Assembly, in large part, to provide the resources to pay our teachers what they so richly deserve. And so I'm going to use a term or a phrase or a quote from U.S. Representative Alma Adams on this first issue. And then we'll talk about some other things as we can do as well. But she has said, and I'm going to try to get it about right, but it is, if you don't like the policies, maybe you need to change the policy numbers. So, we're coming up on an election season. If you don't like the policies, how about you think about changing the policy numbers?
All right.
And what I would submit to you is we got to have folks who are making the decisions, because the most significant policy decision is the budget. Here we sit in North Carolina, the only state in the country that does not have a comprehensive budget. If you don't like the policymakers, if you don't like the policies, maybe you need to change the policymakers. Other things that we also are certainly considering are the following. And this is going to take more time and effort. But we're looking at licensure issues, and there will be a task force focused on that. And part of the questions that we're going to be posing to the task force and ultimately the state board, and ultimately, if necessary, the General Assembly, is whether we ought to have, why do we have to have everyone sort of go the same pathway with regards to the type of license that is required, particularly when you think about places like, or positions like in career and technical education, where it may be the case that we might not be able to get somebody full-time, but we might get 2 sessions a day of someone who could say, I'm happy to do this, but I don't have perhaps the license that is required. Maybe there's opportunities for us to think differently about what license might be required for that person to come in and devote even part of the time to supporting career and technical education courses. Certainly, we are going to be doing any number of things to try to enhance the opportunities for folks to consider this as a profession, but I know compensation becomes a critically important thing. Other questions? Yes, sir. Maybe one more.
One more, then we gotta cut it because we gotta want to get to the panel.
Yeah, okay, my question is pretty quick. You mentioned the number of the gap in staying between our state and the state, our border state. Can you talk a little bit about what our children lose because of that gap? Sometimes there's this narrative that you can't just throw money at a problem, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
And obviously, if our incredible superintendents and boards had the opportunity to have what turns out to be billions of additional dollars on an annual basis, where would they put the resources? Part of what I would submit to you is the following. Certainly increased compensation to our educators would be at the top. And so that certainly speaks to our ability to not only pay the ones that we have, but to recruit high-level folks into this profession, right? Secondly, I would look at things like class sizes. We have, there was times when we were able to reduce classes. Those are incrementally going back up, which impacts our ability to drill in and work with students who have particular needs that need to be addressed with smaller student classes. Third, we know that our students, and this has been magnified coming out of COVID, have a lot of mental health needs. And so where we look across the country, the number of folks that are professionally capable of addressing these needs, we can't even see our numbers in comparison to the national average. So you think about school social workers and school psychologists and counselors, we would see increases in resources being provided there. We in North Carolina have our educators putting out about, on average, $3,000 of their own dollars to buy school supplies. What in the world is going on? Compared to the rest of the nation, the reports that have been presented is we're second in the nation in what our teachers are providing for our kids, because they're the closest one there's to us. They see the school supplies that are not there. Another place that you would see significant increases would be in instructional materials that can support our students, both paper, pencil, but also digital technology opportunities as well. So there's a lot that we're missing that would support our kids' educational opportunities in really magnificent ways. Again, thank you for giving me your time. I hope y'all have a blessed rest
So this time I'm going to ask our treasurer, Ms. Hill, David Hill, to come and present a appreciation for Mr. Greene.
Good afternoon. Let's give our state superintendent another round of applause. I just wanted to say that for his works of his knowledge, works of wisdom, and his work to our wonderful state, sir, we cannot thank you enough
for coming and sharing with you today, but we hope you will accept this plaque, and it reads, Eastern North Carolina Civic Group, in appreciation to keynote speaker, Mr. Maurice Greene, North Carolina Superintendent of Public Instruction, January 10th, 2026.
Thank you. We're kind of running behind schedule, but we're going to go ahead on and do the next item. I think we're all set up. So the individual on the panel, if you will make yourself available to come to the front, or Ms. Purvis, if you will come forward. Dr. Smallwood, Dr. White, Dr. Yancey, Mr. Cromville, Ms. Smith, Mrs. Smith, and Mr. Bass. Let's give them a round of applause. They took out that busy day to come and be here for our educational forum to see what we can do as a community to better our school in our counties. So, we're going to get started, and I will ask each one on the panel, you have 3 minutes to introduce yourself, and then we will start with the person. And we have mics, and we will start with the lady first. We'll start with Ms. Smith, or let's do Dr. White, you go first. Yes.
Good morning again. Can you hear me? Good morning again. I am Dr. Michelle White, very proud superintendent of Martin County Schools.
Then, Ms. Perkins.
Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be here. My name is Renee Purvis, and I serve as the board chair for Martin County.
Good morning, I'm Wendy Greene from Northampton County and from Halifax County as well, where I am the occupational course of studies, retired but returning teacher.
Okay. Dr. Yancey.
Good afternoon, my name is Michael Yancey. I'm the Chief Personnel Officer for Washington County Schools.
Good morning, Otis Smallwood, Superintendent of Berkeley County Public Schools.
Good afternoon, my name is Adrian Farmville, Northeastern High School Principal, retired.
And Mr. Bass on video.
Like I said, good morning, everybody. My name is Marcus Bass. I have the pleasure of serving as Executive Director for the North Carolina Black Alliance in Advanced Carolina. Glad to be here.
Okay. Okay.
Just want to announce that we do have refreshments.
Just wanted to make an announcement that we do have refreshments out in the lobby for each of you after the program. Okay, we'll get down to the panel. Do we have a list of questions that we need to ask, or we're gonna let them just talk about what they think that we need to do as a community to improve, get us to have to improve their school? So who would like to start first? Okay, Ms. Smith, we'll go first since you are an educator and you're still in the school. You want to come with me? You can do it right there.
Good morning again to each and every one of you. As a teacher, in the reign now of entering 40 plus years, I've had a wonderful and successful career as an educator. I've had the opportunity to have some of the best students ever in the state of North Carolina. All my students have been wonderful, and all of my students, despite what stumbling blocks they had along the way, have been overall successful. I would like to just share some important things in the community that you can help us with as teachers. First,
let me say, teachers just want to feel valued. Again, teachers just want to feel valued. What does that mean? That means that you can never pay a good teacher their worth, but realize that they are the major rib and the major backbone of this country. When truly connected to their students and to the educational purpose for which they are hired, generations of productive citizens are rendered back into the world and to your communities. But remember, teachers have families. We are humans too. We have rent. We have affordable living things that we are to provide, not only for ourselves. Many of our teachers have children. Many of our teachers are responsible for their parents in helping them stay stable, in helping them with health care, and health care as well for their own. They have dreams. Teachers always want to improve themselves and have the ability to move forward. These things take resources of funding. Community, as Superintendent Greene says, now I want you to slow up. I want you to look back in your mind. I want you to look throughout the streets of your community, whether rural or whether they're compacted with houses after house, and ask yourself, how is it that in North Carolina, a state where we grew up, where we put our backbone and sweat in, we do not have a budget? It's time to make some changes. It's time to look at what we have and ask, how can we do better? Another thing teachers are concerned about. Teachers want to feel safe. You ask yourself why there are not a lot of teachers in the classroom? Because teachers now don't feel safe as they did in many cases in some scenarios. And it's just a fact. Teachers now in some cases are not just teachers. We are doctors, we are nurses, we are babysitters, we are security guards. We are the only thing sometimes between one student and 30 students for security. We need for every high school, every school in North Carolina to be supported, whether it is 100% or not effective. We need to feel protected. We need resource officers. And where there are not resource officers, we need the visitation of policemen in our school at least once every now and then during the week to tell us they know we need security. This is a new day, folks. Things are happening all around us. Things are happening in our back door. Let's keep it out of our front door. And last but not least, I would say teachers want to come home and they want to go to school feeling empowered. And they want to leave with a feeling that they have the support of the community. We need parents to come back to the table. When your child enters high school, that is not the time to drop your child off and say it's on you. It is not on them. It becomes on every entity within that school wall for the period of that day. We need your support as parents. We need this community to have parent involvement meetings. PTO and PTA have now somewhat in many schools been dismantled. Then we need the community to man up, to have nights that you invite your community people, your parents. Start with maybe 2 or 1. Everyone makes a difference, and then you will grow. Say to them, these are our children. We will build, we will do what we have to do
to make them strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, for those words. Who would like to go next? Okay.
As a school board member, I would encourage you to remember that you have a voice. And for me, a voice is an acronym for visibility, open communications, inclusiveness, collaboration, and evaluation. Visibility, like Ms. Smith said, show up. We need you at things other than athletic events. Come to the school board meetings. Be a part of the PTA. Open communications. I encourage you to engage your superintendent and your school board members. Everything is not good. Dissect what we're telling you. Inclusiveness. Representation matters. All school students, no matter what their background is, no matter what their disability is, they deserve to get what other children have. We need to be inclusive. Collaboration. I think Mr. Greene touched on this. If you're blessed, be a blessing to someone else. There are things that you can donate. There are hygiene products that are needed in schools. There are things that teachers can use if you give them gift cards. They can use that to spur on some goodness, some fun. Just give them, you can't give them money, but give them the gift card so they can think out of the box. And then evaluate. We have to learn that just because something was implemented, it doesn't mean it's still working. So whatever is going on, you need to continuously assess it and evaluate it. So I say to you, voice is an acronym. Remember, you have a voice. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Those were some nice words. Who's next? Oh, go ahead.
I would just like to say, coming from a principal standpoint or the school administrator, is that we have to maintain the fact that it is a partnership between the community, the parents, the teachers, and the school administrators. Everyone involved. Everybody has to play their part. And my approach is that I took it personal. Once those kids come through the door of the school, it's my responsibility to keep the teachers safe, to keep the students safe, and to make sure I hold the students to a high standard of education and hold them individually accountable through developing a relationship with the kids and supporting the teachers, because without those teachers, nothing will happen. Without teachers feeling supported and knowing that the administrator cares, there's nothing happening. But the collaboration between the parents, the community, and the school administrators and the teachers is key. And I just want to say that, at each level, we can't make excuses. And the motto at my school was no excuses to make it happen. You have wristbands made, because once you start making excuses, it becomes comfortable, it becomes easy to do. But excuses don't help our students succeed. Excuses don't support our teachers. I can't make excuses. I've got to make it happen. I've got to look that parent straight in the eye and say, I'm doing everything I can to support your student. So, no excuses. We got to make it happen. All of us have a role to play, and we got to play it.
Thank you. Who's next, Dr. White?
So the one thing I want to share with the community really revolves around getting involved. We want you to be a part of our public schools. Some ways that you can do that, I just want to plant a few seeds today. Adopt a school. You've heard some of our panelists talk about the support that teachers need, the money out of their own pocket that they're spending. You've heard Superintendent Greene talk about that. You've heard that they want to feel empowered and supported. And a great way that you can do that is through the power you have in some of your organizations like this one, or your church, or your Rotary, or your Lions Club. Get involved in your public schools. Choose different organizations. Come together. Alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. Create an opportunity for these organizations to come together and get organized and decide, okay, this organization is going to adopt this school in our community. This organization is going to adopt this school. This organization is going to support this school. So that every single public school in your community is adopted. Then that organization is responsible for helping our teachers feel appreciated, sending little notes of encouragement, offering prayer over the school if it's a faith-based organization, donating funds, if you can, to that school so that they can buy the instructional supplies and do the things that unfortunately you've heard today, we have some gaps in our budget. So show up, get involved, be a part of the change, and remember that we can do it together. You don't have to do it alone. Let's create opportunities for our organizations to come together and be a part of the change. I know one thing we're going to be doing in Martin County is a mentor program. We're going to be launching that soon. And so if you're a part of Martin County, or if you would like to support Martin County schools, we will be launching a mentor program. We want every child in our district to have a supportive adult, and we're going to be taking some steps to ensure that occurs. And lastly, I want to challenge you to share the good. There is so much good going on in the public schools across District 1. We need to share it. How many of you are on social media? Raise your hand if you're on social media. How many of you see chronic negativity on social media? I challenge you today to share the good. Tell the world the good going on in public schools, because I'm telling you, the good does outweigh the bad. We are changing lives every single day. Make sure the community knows the good going on, because in a school choice environment, parents have a choice, and they should have a choice. But we want it to be an educated decision where they know the good going on. On the reverse side of that, if there's bad, talk to your school system. Talk to your superintendent. Reach out. Be a part of the change. Blasting on social media does not create a positive change. But when you reach out to advocates who are here for the good of public schools, people like the people on this panel, our amazing teachers, our school leaders, they want our schools to be the best. And when you reach out, your voice will be heard. And that is how we will correct the issues or the problems that we may see in our public schools. So I challenge you, share the good, and then let's work together to proactively reach out to people who can change things that need to be changed. So overall, I challenge you, community, let's get involved.
Thank you, Dr. White. Dr. Yancey?
Yes, sir. Well, this has got stuck in my hand. I was trying to give it away a few times. I wouldn't take it. But from a central office perspective, human resources, Superintendent Greene said a lot of valuable things that I would necessarily speak about or speak to. But I want to dig a little bit deeper just for a moment into some of the things that he spoke about. You know, I know some of the people on this panel have been in situations where when those federal funds were cut or stopped, schools began to sit down and have those conversations of who are we going to have to remove to make up for the deficit of not having these funds. I think someone spoke up earlier, the gentleman, I think Mr. Matthews, said that when the elephants fight, the grass suffers, the grass is trampled. Well, that's where the grass begins to get trampled. When you see that you can't provide those basic necessities and needs that your students need for the school to be successful. Teachers are struggling. How are teachers struggling? Teachers are struggling very simply because even though we don't have a state budget, their planning goes off the old budget, which now their personal budgets are now being struck by the fact that their insurance has gone up. So not only are they making what they made last year, but it's really essentially less than what they made last year because now they're paying for increased insurance premiums. So you couple that with the need to come out of pocket to pay for resources that your students so desperately need in your classroom. Teachers are really at a hole, or in a hole. Now from the central office perspective, I struggle in finding qualified people from this area to be teachers. Our Elizabeth cities, our East Carolinas, our Mount Olives, our Chowanas are not producing those people that have the educational background or those educational degrees. So now we all have to become creative on how we're going to find qualified people to put in the classroom to be in front of our most vulnerable population, our young minds. It becomes a challenge. So now when Superintendent Greene speaks of, let's talk to the state board about possibly not loosening, but let's find some different ways that we can get qualified people from our areas into our schools. I think about back when I was going to school, all my teachers lived in my community. My parents knew every one of my teachers. That is not the case now. And last, since Dr. White said it, I'll go ahead on with it. Love. We have lost the love that we have for public education, our children, our teachers, and the family. Look at this room. If Washington County were playing Martin County, you couldn't get in here. You couldn't get in here. But now, we're talking about something that is at the core of the existence of Eastern North Carolina, our educational system, having students prepared to come back to our communities and have viable jobs, building their families so that these areas in Eastern North Carolina don't evaporate, vanish from the map, and it's a sparse population. So we've got to get the love and the motivation for our community, for our school. We are not adversaries. And I was a successful principal. And as my good brother said, being a principal, I wanted those conversations. You have to have conversations with the constituents that you serve. I had to make sure my students felt safe when they came into that building. That was my job. I had to make sure that my teachers were empowered and they were comfortable and they were safe in that building. That's what I did. So that's why administrators work those long hours, because as soon as that first foot hits that campus, I'm on watch. For those of you who don't know me, I was a highway patrolman in Eastern North Carolina for 11 years, right out of Washington and Terrell County. So patrolling was nothing new to me. I patrolled from the time that first foot hit the campus till the last student, or the last administrator or last teacher left that campus. It's important that we get the love back that we have, one for another, and that we apply ourselves to improving our students, our communities, our families, our schools, our region, and our state. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcus?
And I'll try to make this quick, and I think I should take the least amount of time because even though I was an educator, I taught high school, middle school, not a school administrator. So my hat goes off to all of you all and the work that you play in public schools. I'm a country boy, I'm from Sampson County. I don't know how many folks have ever been to Sampson County. So I'm gonna talk to you as if y'all are in Sampson County. How many people fish? Anybody fish here? Yeah. If you ever go to a fishing pond or creek and you see fish lying on the side of the creek or lying outside the pond, do you think something is wrong with the fish, or do you think something is wrong with the water? Something is wrong with the water. In public schools, we cannot police our way out of this situation. We can't dollar store donation our way out of this situation. We could pack this room tonight, and we still wouldn't fix the issues that are plaguing public schools. This is a systemic issue. Doesn't mean you shouldn't donate. Doesn't mean you shouldn't come to the schools. As a matter of fact, I don't think everybody is equipped to come inside a public school and work with our children. So let's just be honest about what we're dealing with. These individuals are bound to support the schools no matter what. and they can't say what the real problem is. But the real problem is right in front of our face. If you have a community that does not have access to jobs, if you have a community that does not have access to adequate health care, if we don't have the resources because budgets have been cut to provide after-school services, these are all systemic issues that are attached to dollars and cents. I'm so glad the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group and the leadership, President Stokes, called this meeting because it is not about one specific issue, right? There was not just one thing that happened where our schools automatically plummeted. But if you were to ask people in this room if they know of a negative experience that they had in a public school, somebody would raise their hand. We are dealing with parents now that have negative impact and negative experiences in the schools. And so the children of those individuals are coming to the school with that same negative connotation. Now, we can't point the finger of blame, but we have to recognize that for a long time, we did not adequately prepare to educate every single child in Morgan County. Data and statistics will show us that in some community schools were well-funded, well-maintained, and in other communities that weren't. And I'm pretty sure our superintendent now, just by listening to her, is very committed to making sure that is not the case. But what we are dealing with from a dollars and cents standpoint is the fact that $9.8 million is missing in Martin County Public Schools. I want to be clear, $9.8 million is missing. That's about 46% of the budget. So what do we need to do after we go to the football game? Because I'm still going to the football game. We got to have some joy. We need to go to the General Assembly. There are individuals that you elect into office that do not carry the sentiments of the individuals on this panel. As a matter of fact, there was a bill, I want to make sure you understand what this bill is called. I have to look it up. Senate Bill 254. Mr. Matthews, Board Member of West Carolina, thank you for being here. I know you have a lot of things going on. Senate Bill 254 authorizes charter schools to review board proposed, recommend, approve rules and policies regarding all aspects of charter operations. That bill in and of itself, about 3 years prior to this bill being passed, charter schools were able to take funding away from public schools. And without any oversight at all, they were able to use those funds however they saw fit. The very next year, even though those schools got millions of dollars of your money, those schools were cited for misuse of funds, inappropriate use of funds. They told you that you could get a voucher and your student could go to those schools, and guess what? After 6 to 7 months, they sent your kid back to public school. And in that gap of 6 to 7 months, your student didn't get the education, so public school had to go back and reinforce education to bring that student back up to par. So when we're talking about what is wrong, I get that there's a personal responsibility. I get that there's some parents that have to step up. But this $9.4 million gap, this budget, this Senate Bill 254, which members that serve Martin County voted for, those are real things that we have to remember when we're talking about personal accountability. I promise you, you put $9.4 million back into Martin County schools, lottie-dottie, everybody gonna show up to support the school district. The T.D. Jakes is known for saying this: the church has an obligation, the community does too. How much are we told to give to the church? 10%. How much are we told to give to Uncle Sam? 33%. There is no way that the church and community can fill the gap that we know the government has an obligation in that 33%. Now, of that 33% that we give, how much do you think goes into our school system? Very few dollars in regards to what we need. And I know this room is a room full of smart people. I know you all are already engaged in schools. You're already going to do this work. But I want to equip you with some knowledge because we can't keep blaming the fish. We have to start looking at this environment and holding people accountable that we vote into office. What's more dangerous than an individual that is uneducated, an individual that is educated and does not use that knowledge and power?
Thank you, Mr. Brown, for that word. Last but not least, Dr. Smallwood, the floor is yours.
I need to say amen. Good morning again. Thank you for allowing me to be here. my colleagues here kind of pretty much have said it all. And, you know, we can talk about stats, Superintendent Greene talked about some accomplishments that are happening in public schools, and we all across the group have some amazing things that are happening in public schools. But I would just like to echo two things. In Bertie, we have a new slogan for the year that says, student success every day, no excuses. And that might mean a lot to a lot of different people, but if our students are going to be successful, everybody has to be all hands in on that. It's not responsibility just maybe school board, but it has to be responsibility of our communities as well. Our schools are only going to be as healthy as our communities are. And sometimes it takes a lot of work to make our communities healthy. I'll just pick back on my brother here, where we talked about how we vote. We don't like the policy change the policy makers, right? I want to take that a step further. How you vote and who you vote for does matter, even if you have to vote outside of your party. So many times we vote straight tickets because that's what we think we should do, but we say our public schools are failing, our policy makers are failing, but you still vote for them anyway because you're affiliated with a certain party. It's nothing that's arming you to make you vote a straight Democrat or Republican ticket when you know that's not some either party who are harming the public schools. So if we're going to clean the water, we just need to be honest with ourselves about how we vote. When we complain, we vote the same. Then the last thing I would say is this. We talk a lot in Bertie about courageous leadership, courage, the word courage. Sometimes when we hear the word courage, it makes it sound very loud and brass. But courage is a word derived from Greek, that means the heart. We do hard work every day, but we have to show the new heart to it too. There's nothing that's going to heal this land or our schools if we don't start loving one another, looking out for one another, and taking care of one another. We got to get out of our silos. We got to stop worshiping in our silos. We got to show up in our schools for kids that are ours and are not ours. And if you don't have kids in the public schools, you still have to show up. And you have to love on these kids. You have to love on the staff members because that's what's needed right now. We need a spiritual healing. Out of all this stuff we talk about, if we don't have that spiritual piece in place, it's never ever going to work. I'm not going to preach about it. We just need to show up and do what's right about our people, about our kids. Our kids are crying out for help. Right across the water in Bertie County, I mean, it's no secret, and this is in a lot of counties as well, but we have a lot of violence going on. I've lost 3 students, but 2 students to gun violence this academic year. I just sat with a mom who buried her child on New Year's Eve. All from senseless violence that did not have to be. A 16-year-old and a 14-year-old is a person who's been charged with murder. We can sit back and act like we don't see or hear it. We don't go in our house and lock doors. But these things can show up on your own doorstep as well and affect our family. So I just say we need to show up. We need to have a spiritual awakening. We just need to show up involved. We need to start loving on people, loving on each other. And none of these kids, they need attention. They are really crying attention. Say this, Ron, social media cannot raise the kids. It just cannot. There's so much information on social media that radicalize people, and people think it's true. That's just not true. So you need to limit your kids' time on social media. You need to get back to taking the whole village to the child. Social media is not going to be the truth.
Thank you, Dr. Selby. Let's get a time another parent class for them taking out that busy day to come and be with us, and especially in citing us what we might need to do to help them improve the school system. And when community, we need to get involved. I'm just going to say it point blank, we need to get involved. We need to stop sitting home
holding our hand, twiddling our thumb, saying everything's gonna be all right. Because it's not. I can say that from the standpoint where my daughter is an educator in the school system. I know what she goes through. I know what money I pull out of my pocket and give to her in order for her to buy her supply to teach her school, her students. She's a math teacher, by the way. She's in Bertie County, by the way. She won't come back, Dr. Smallwood. I'm gonna tell you why. After the meeting is over, I'll tell you why. But we got, like Mr. Marcus said, like Dr. Smallwood said, we as a community have to go to our churches, speak to them, and then we need to go to our schools, attend the PTA meeting, attend the Board of Education meeting. Let them know that you're concerned about the students in your community that's at their school. And I just like to say, we have adopted several schools as a fraternity. Our fraternity in a high school alumni chapter and the Reynolds Swan University, Rodelta, we have adopted a school that we read to. They go visit them every week. So what we gotta do as an organization, D9, you need to get out there and adopt a school. Go and let them kids know that we're concerned about them. Those young men need young men like us, well, I'm an old man, but need young men to come to their school and let them know you can do anything you want to do because your mind, you got it in your mind. Nobody can take that from you. But if you don't use it, you shall lose it. So we just need to, community, just get together and go to our school and support the administration of those school systems. Now, that's all I got to say. If you got one question, I'll let somebody ask one, and then we're going to shut it down. Yes, sir.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Are you all aware that there is a organization who have created a program that will increase students' grades, but also pay teachers a bonus at the end of each semester? Have you all heard of that? I'm asking.
No.
Okay. The CEO of this program or this business, how can he get in contact with you all to show you all how this program works? The goal of this organization is to pay teachers a bonus each semester, but also increase the graduation rate. So what would be the easiest way for them to contact you all to show you all how this program works?
For this organization, one of the best ways to be, and to limit a lot of hearsay and misconception, is to go directly to our president, which is Mr. Stokes back there. If Mr. Stokes would get with you or you get with him and give him the information, he will assemble it or disassemble it throughout our communities. Because we'll bring it to the table in our meetings.
Yes. If you just give with Mr. Stokes at the end of the meeting. Mr. Stokes, will you stand up so he's looking to see who you are? So Mr. Stokes will stand up. You will get with him and give us that information, and we will disseminate it out to all 23 counties that we support. Okay? Thank you, sir. Okay, with that being said, can I get another round for the panel? Thank you, panel. Y'all did a wonderful job. You really did. We appreciate y'all taking y'all busy time out to be here today. And again, I said thank you. I hope this won't be our last one. We're going to try to keep things going because we love our 23 counties. We love our students and we love our community. And just before that, Brother Stokes, you come and give your the final words and then we can be dismissed. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. I want to thank all of you for your attendance today. I want to thank Superintendent Dr. Greene for being here and this panel. I just wish we had more time because you all hit some points that I really got some more questions I wanted to hear more about. One of them is if organizations want to come in, like Brother Bond mentioned, the D9s, do we have to come in and get background checks? We've got to get the background checks. Okay, all right. Okay. I know our chapter over in the city alumni chapter, they're always in the school systems. So we want to make sure, and for those of you, we've talked about the resources. We know the resources are short, but we have so much in our community. We got people, if you need someone to come in and talk to your kids about leadership skills, we got that. Even in here this morning, one of my good friends and brother as well is the graphic design and media director at the Mississippi State University. If your school system has shortcomings and if you don't know where to find a resource, if you will contact us, we will put you in contact with a resource that of whatever you need. Now that resource is not money, but that resource will be providing you with people that can come in and let our kids know that they can be whatever they want to be, just with some guidance. You've heard our mission. You've heard what our organization's mission is. It is to enhance the economic, the social, and the political landscape of Eastern North Carolina. And Brother Marcus hit it right on the head. It is who we vote for. And do not think just because a person is a good person that they're good for you. Because I was talking to a group of people about my representatives in the state. And somebody said to me, well, you know Wesley, he's a good man. Well, not the way he votes. He's not good to me. So we got to understand that when we cast our vote, that it has a personal impact on our lives. We know that our teachers work hard. Our new school is right out on Highway 64. And one of my friends called me one evening and said, hey, what's going on at school? I said, nothing. He said, it's not a game, not any activity. I said, no, because it was the first time that people were passing by that the school was a union school. At 5:15, the parking lot looked like it was full. The teachers worked hard. The teachers were there, planning for the next day. So the shortcoming is not the fish. The shortcoming is the water. Now, Marcus just gave you the shortcoming of $9-point-some million for Martin County, but they're robbing each and every one of our counties in the district. Matter of fact, next month we're going to put that out in our next meeting because you shared that information with us before. We're going to put it out county by county so you will see what our legislators are withholding from our kids. And then they will come out and say, I'm for you. They're not. But again, I want to thank you all so much for this. It has been wonderful. We need to get you all individually and just give you an hour to let you go and tell us. But again, we thank you so much for this. I've been overwhelmed with the information that has been given today. But let's take that information. We got it on video. We're going to go back. We're going to look at the pointers that you all gave, and we're going to assess it, and then we're going to send it out to our 23 counties that if you want to help your school systems achieve excellence, these are some things that you can do. And voting is going to be at the top of the list. All right, we do have some food out in the foyer for this. We want to thank the executive committee for your hard work with this. And even one of my fraternity brothers that's in the back was prepared to give us some information also on in Operation Restart. I asked him would he so kindly come to our February meeting that we would have time to listen to that presentation as well, because folks, we cannot sit idly by and let our children fail. So again, thank you all so much for your attendance. Yes, we want to get a group photo. So if we can get everyone that's in here up here, that we can get that group photo, that we can let East North Carolina know that we're not sleeping. And don't let people convince you that being woke is bad. Being woke is good. All right, so if we can assemble. Well, if we can get everybody in this area for the photo. Come on, folks.
Stand up.
Okay.
All right, here we go. All three. 1, 2, 2, 3. Hold it right there.
You are so funny to me.
Yeah. Get down here and check it out. How do you know? That's right. You can go on. I don't have a lot of pictures. I don't get in the pictures.
I know the files down there. Mail file on
Oh, okay. Well, go and get in the picture. I ain't taking no picture.
That's my buddy.
Y'all gotta tighten up. Everybody need to be inside. Everybody need to be on the inside of the white part, right? The stage.
Turn sideways so y'all can swing.
I'm a little more visible. I know. Y'all see here?
You see everybody?
The lady in front of Stokes. Oh, that's Betty.
Yes.
Okay, okay. All right, I think everybody do it. All right, all three. 1, 2, 2, 3. Hold it right there. All smooth. I got to put all the camera.
Verify.
Go. Right there. Yeah.
There's food down in front, and there is, I was sitting in the I was giving an announcement next Saturday.
You heard about
Yes. 4 p.m. at the old Washington County Middle School. Dr.
I need the number 2. Thank you. I'm Mona Johnson. I'm part of the NAACP, recently established Pearl County. It was as well as the Democratic Party, and I have a nonprofit with the Kings and Queens Youth School. I have a nonprofit. Well, it's something that you can't she was the director of operations killed over there. The Charlotte School, the Durham School, Halifax, and Northampton School. She still has Halifax in Northampton, but she doesn't have to go back and forth to Charlotte. Yeah, it was. I want to ask you something. Oh yeah, I'm not a student. I'll work down here. Yeah, no, I said something about